Hi guys, my name is rstar26, coming at you live right now with a new career playthrough of Kerbal Space Program. A little bit of background information on myself with regards to Kerbal Space Program. I purchased this game a couple years ago now. I've got about 180 hours into it. I am by no means an expert. I crash and fail more times than I succeed, but I love the challenge of this game. It's beautifully done. Got really good physics, and it's a good challenge in building things and figuring out how to get to where you want to go. So without further ado, let's get in there and see what we can do. Start a new game. We're going to go with career mode. Career mode is a little more challenging than any of the other modes because you need to have reputation, science, and money to do anything. We've got a few different difficulties. We've got it on normal, there's easy, moderate, hard, and custom. I am going to crank up the starting funds just a little bit. I find that I suck so bad I usually run out of money. But that's okay. We're going to go ahead and do that, and we're going to call this new game save Log Federal Goons Gaming. Overwrite the existing one and get in there. So I'm running a fairly modded version of the game. I've got lots of graphics mods and things like that, so I'm not too sure. Hopefully this stream remains healthy enough that people can see what's going on. Please feel free to leave us some comments and things like that in the chat. Join us if you want to see anything or have any questions. Please feel free to ask. The game is fairly complex. So you need to really watch a lot of things, your delta V and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, let's get on there. Here's Gene Kerman. He is the flight director, and he's going to give us a quick introduction. I'm just going to go ahead and skip through most of this stuff and get right into the bulk of the game. So he wants us to right click over the Space Center, and you can find more information about that kind of thing. Inside the vehicle hangar, we've got Warner von Kerbal, Chief Rocketry Engineer. Everyone knows who he is. This is the vehicle assembly building. This is where we build our spacecraft. The first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to go to the Mission Control Center. And here we have missions we can grab for our space program. So we got a mission here that's gather scientific data from Kerbal. So they want us to give a quick crew report before launching the ship, and that's going to give us a little bit of science, a reputation, and some credits. Take that one. And we've got another one to launch our first vessel as well. Okay, John's telling me I need to make some adjustments here, so we're going to go ahead and do that real quick. We're going to adjust our game audio level down a bit because my mic is on max. Maybe I just need to pull it forward as well and speak up a little bit louder. Okay, let's try that. Is that any better, John? Let me know if it's coming through any better. Okay, so we got another mission to grab. I think we can only grab, yeah, we can grab 2 missions at once right now. Until we upgrade our Mission Control Center, then we can grab a few more missions. So the next mission that we have is to launch our first vessel. So we'd like to officially start the space program with a bang, a very controlled bang, preferably. Launch your first vessel off the launch pad or the runway to achieve this goal. We've got a couple missions. We're going to go to the vehicle assembly building and we're going to construct our first spacecraft. So the brains of the first spacecraft is always going to be your command pod. So we're going to go ahead and select our command pod. And we're going to rotate it. I always like to rotate mine so that the door is facing, the door of the command pod is facing away from the door of the hangar. That way you get a good equatorial launch position. Here we are. That. Then what we're going to do, I'm just going to zoom in and I'm going to rotate around. You see here we have the Kerbal Space Program mission badge. I have created a custom mission badge for us to use, and that's going to be our Bog Bitter Lagoons Gaming logo. I love that. There's our Bog mission badge. We've got the Bog logo hanging on our hangar. And this is officially a Bog mission. So we've got our command pod. Our next thing is going to be... I don't think we have too much unlocked right now. It looks like it's probably just going to be an engine. Really don't got much. We're going to need a parachute. We're going to put some parachutes on this ship. And we're going to strap an engine to it. Give it a little bit of aerodynamic stability. Let me jump back to the tube here so I can keep an eye on the stream. There we go. My apologies again. Okay, so we're going to put some fins on this thing to give us some stability. So one of the things that we can do is in the bottom left-hand corner we can cycle symmetry. We want 2 fins, 3 fins, or 4 fins. We can click that, and then once we put it on, we're going to have a symmetrical placement of fins on the spacecraft. There we go. There's not much to this sucker. She's going to be fly-by-wire. We've got no trolls or anything like that. It's going to be a really, really quick flight. But let's go. We're going to name our ship Bog 1. Very first Bog spaceship. And save it. And then we're going to go to the launch pad and launch this sucker. Alright, here we are. We've got a dusty, dirty old launch pad. Nothing much to it. With our tiny little ship. We've got no control. We're basically just going to aim up and go. So the first thing we're going to do is take that crew report. So let's do that. Crew report. That experiment. One more thing we got to do real quick is stage our rocket. I should have done that in the hangar. But so we're going to add a couple stages here. So we've got... first of all, we want our rocket to fire first, and then we want our parachutes to deploy. And we're going to adjust our altitude to about 1,000 meters. That's okay. So minimum pressure, we'll move that all the way up. And here we go. We're launching our first rocket in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. We are coasting into space. We won't make it to space, but are we going to break the clouds? We're at 7,000 meters. That's it. Didn't quite break the atmosphere. Well, not by a long shot. I think about 60,000 meters is what we need to get to, but we're still going up. 11,000. 12,000. Here we go. We're gonna angle down. Deploy our chute. As we come down, that chute, once we get below 1,000 meters, our chute should deploy and lower us gently to the ground. We can see our little Kerbal in the right hand corner there. He's happier than a big and shit right now. Down we come. Dropping him like a bullet here. Can't even turn the ship around. But our chute should deploy in about 1,000 meters here. Or not. And we just killed Jebediah Kerbal. As I said, I fail more than I make it, so we're gonna revert that back to the launch pad, and we'll relaunch that mission. We're gonna just readjust the staging again here. We're gonna bump up this altitude to maybe 1,800 meters. Bump that up. Okay, let's launch this sucker again. That was a pretty bad failed first attempt, everybody. Of course, I forgot to take that crew report again as well too, so we'll have to do that on our next launch. I might just speed this up a little bit here. You can actually warp time in this game, just to save on that. We already watched the ship launch the first time, so. Okay, so something's not quite right with the ship. I'm thinking that we're probably going too fast for our parachute to deploy. So, what we're going to do is we're going to set it to deploy at a much higher altitude. We'll go 4,000 meters. And we'll deploy it when it's risky. Take our crew report. Warp time again. Ooh. Okay, we got chute deployment now. should be okay. There we go. We are gently lowering ourselves back to Kerbal. Kerbin, I should say. Okay, we'll move the bog logo down, John. I agree with you on that. We're going to have a bit of a drop here, so I'll do that right now. Bear with me, guys. I've never streamed this game before. There we go. That should be better. Now we can see the altimeter. Jump back, and we're going to speed up time so we get back to the ground and get on to our next mission. Get into outer space. I'd like for everyone to see what outer space looks like. It's a pretty cool achievement when you get up there for the first time and make orbit. Oh, yeah, the bog logo is embedded in YouTube. I don't think I can mix that or fix that, eh? I moved the bog logo that I put in though. Yeah. So one of the mods that I put on is a mod that makes the water look quite a bit more realistic, so I like that. That's a nice sight coming down. Alright, we'll have splashdown. There we go, we made it. We can recover our vessel. Remember how to do that. Hey, so we recovered our vessel, we got some science from that, we got some cash back from saving some parts on the ship. And Jebediah Kerbin gained a level, so that's good. We're going to go to the research and development complex and see if we can purchase anything. We've got 18.5 science that we can spend, so we can purchase basic rocketry, which is going to give us access to some more powerful engines. Fuel tanks, take that for sure. The other one we have is decouplers, which is 5. We'll take that. And the next level looks like it's going to be, we're going to need some significant science to get that, so we should have access to some better stuff now. Yeah, we've got some proper fuel tanks and liquid fuel rockets. That was a solid rocket booster, so we do have access to some better things now. We can go to mission control and see what we got. We've got the Escape the Atmosphere, which is a good one. We get a good amount of cash and some good science for that, so we're going to take that mission for sure. And we've got Orbit Kerbin. I don't know that we are going to have enough delta V or velocity change to orbit yet, but we're going to build another vessel and see if we can't make it to orbit. So we're going to create a new spacecraft. Got our bog command pod. And now we should have some access to things like heat shields. I don't think we need a heat shield for this command pod. We don't even have heat shields yet, but we should have a decoupler, so we can actually stage our rocket properly. Now we're going to go to the fuel tanks. Got these guys, the little guys. We'll put a few on there. Okay, I've never tried having a whole bunch of decouplers. The thing is you need to watch the weight of the spacecraft as you're moving through the atmosphere. So, what we got for engine? Swivel. That swivel is a nice little engine. I think we need to have about 3,000 delta V in order to leave the atmosphere. Again, I'm not too sure that we're going to get there with the fuel tanks that we have. Or whether or not it's even going to support the weight of this craft, the launch pad that we do have. We have 30 parts and we can be 18 tons. And we're going to have one more decoupler. Throw one of these guys on here. That's going to give us 2,600 delta V. So we're going to need a parachute. We're going to go ahead and set the parameters on that chute now so that we don't need to do it later. Let's see what we got for science experiments. We've got a mystery goo and we've got a thermometer, so we'll throw those on here. And we can throw a flight computer on here as well too. Flight computer is a mod that gives you a little bit of extra information on the spacecraft. So. Throw some fins on here. So that is a 3-stage spacecraft. 4 stages. So we got primary booster, coupler, booster, coupler, booster, coupler, booster. And we can decouple the ship and arm the parachute. Perfect. So let's see, I don't even know if this sucker's going to stand. It's pretty tall, but we're going to call it Bog 2. I'm not too sure what our missions were. I know we got to get to orbit. What was the other one? Have a look at that. Escape the atmosphere. We're going to throttle up all these engines. Again, we don't have any sort of control of the spacecraft, but we're going to launch this sucker in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait until I have the ship at about 100 meters per second, and I'm going to try to start pitching it over. I'm not going to really be able to have any sort of control until this solid rocket booster is done burning. We're at 100 meters per second. We're going to try to start pitching the ship over. As you can see, I've got very little control. We kind of want to allow gravity to pull the ship over. 15,000 feet is where we made it. So let's do some, if I can click on these science experiments, we're going to grab some science from those. I'm going to try to kill the rotation on the spacecraft here. Gotta come back around. We'll take a crew report while we're here. Don't know that I'm going to be able to do that temperature reading. That should help with that. Log temperature, there we go. And we're coming back down now. There's our fancy bog logo, courtesy of Johnny Rockets, best damn Photoshopper I've ever seen. Got our canopy deployed. And we're 450 meters from splashdown. Speed up time a little bit, get down there quicker. And here we come, about to splash down in 20 meters. There we are. Cover this vessel and we'll go spend some more science on some better better fuel tanks and better engines. Hopefully we'll be able to escape the atmosphere this time. Yeah, we got a pile of science for that, so that's good. 26, and we've got 20 we can spend. This is going to give us these bigger fuel tanks and solid rocket boosters, so take those. Just having a look here. At some point, I've got a mod installed called MechJeb. Yeah, this is the one here. So we want to get to this flight control. MechJeb will give us better control of the ship. It's a lot of guys don't like it because it makes the flight to the spacecraft easier. I don't mind using it because, well, I've got 180 hours and I'm comfortable with flying a spacecraft. So I don't mind using it. So we're gonna build another spacecraft. Some of these new parts. Got our coupler on there. So this Reliant has got more thrust and is lighter than the other one, but it doesn't have any type of velocity or vector change. So move the ship up here. We're gonna have a look at what else we got. We're gonna throw the thumper on this thing. It may not stand up. I don't know. I don't think we have any kind of support yet. Just that. Throw some science experiments onto this sucker again in case we get into orbit. So you can gather science from any place that you haven't been, basically. So if you're at a different layer of atmospheric pressure, or if you leave the atmosphere or whatever, that's kind of what determines that. So okay, we're at 2800 delta. It's pretty sweet. Throw some more fins on this sucker. I'm wondering if we shouldn't throw some fins on this thing maybe as well up at the top of the ship as well, so we still have some form of stability in the atmosphere. Kind of looks a little bit goofy, but whatever, we'll try it out. Call this guy Bog 3. We'll launch. Again, I don't even know that this ship is gonna stand. May or may not. Yeah, it looks like it will. But I want to just revert this flight back to vehicle assembly real quick and go over something about Delta V and some of the adjustments you can make to your ship. So if you look at the ship, this little area here, it's giving us all of the velocity change that we have for each stage of the spacecraft. And then we have a weight ratio here. So basically, any ratio that's above 1 means that the ship will be able to overcome gravity. So we're going to adjust that. Like, typically we want that down to about, I don't know, 1.5-ish. So that's going to give us a little more burn time on each of these engines. We'll adjust this one. That one there's got way too much thrust, so we'll bring it down again to about 1.4, 1.5. Go to the next stage and we'll adjust that one down. And as we get higher, we need less thrust, so we can really pull that one down. 5. Then finally our final stage, we'll pull that one way down as well too. We'll get way more burn time, and the ship's not going to be going quite as fast. There we go. And so we're going to have a little bit better control. Yes, Johnny Rockets, I'm going to launch this biatch. And so it looks like all systems are go for launch. So as you can see, our liftoff was a little bit slower because I adjusted that thrust percentage, that thrust ratio. looks like we're following a fairly good gravity turn right now. Oh shit. Maybe not. I'm gonna have to restage these a little bit better. Yeah, we're just gonna revert that flight back to the vehicle assembly. And I think what's happening here is these engines are not firing, so it's losing a bit of thrust. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine these engine power-ups with the actual decouples so that it's all one motion. Yeah, Kevin, I don't have SAS yet. It's a new career mode. And Jebediah does not have SAS. Nothing. Oh yeah, I do have stability assist. Huh. Thanks. Let's go again. This is our third launch, so he did not have SAS. With SAS, this is going to be much easier, guys. The ship should maintain its attitude. Kevin, are you a KSB player? I think it's still too much thrust. Played heavily a month ago. Good. Yeah, I was saying when I started, I've got about 180 hours into the game. By no means a pro, but and I haven't really left the system. But I've been to Midmas and I've been to Moon and all that kind of jazz, but let's try that again. This time I'm just going to leave SAS on and see what the ship does. I may have to dial back the thrust on this second stage, like, considerably. I think it's just too much oomph. Pull it back a bit more and see what happens. I don't have too much control of the ship yet, so it may be just like, I typically like to use a gravity turn or gravity assist to get into orbit, but this may be just a straight shot up. I'm not too sure why the rockets want to turn like that. Gotta be a thrust thing. That or the fact that it's one of those Reliant engines. Maybe I'll swap that engine out for one of the swivels. We're just going to adjust that ratio down quite a bit. There we go. Yeah, I'm trying to control it with WASD, Kevin. But the ship I just lose control of it as soon as those two stages separate. I think it's too much thrust is what I think. So I've lowered it so that the thrust is less on that second stage. Should be a little more gentle. I'll maybe set my thrust to like 3/4 or something like that. Even less. Yeah, like I say, Trick, I think I fail more than I succeed, but it's those times when you do succeed that make this game so bloody well worthwhile. Could be too that we just got way too much surface velocity from this big engine. I may have to swap to a smaller engine. Okay, that's better. No, he's flipping over. That was a bit better. But I think we're gonna switch this big booster out for a smaller one. We'll go with this guy here. We didn't lose quite as much velocity, but it's not gonna have the ship going quite so fast. Typically you want to maintain your velocity at about 100 meters per second. Like we're going way too fast for the altitude, and the atmosphere is what's throwing us over. I'll just adjust this thrust ratio a little bit too. Fins? I've got fins, Trick. You have to have fins. You think it's the wings on the command pod? Let's take them off. Thanks, Thomas. We'll try that out. Yeah, see, I figured I was just going too fast, Thomas. Like 200 or 300 meters per second by the time I'm even at 5,000 meters. So let's try this. Start a bit of a gravity turn here. We're slowing down a bunch. There we go. That's better. I think Thomas was right, it was those damn fins. Too many fins. Thomas knows his shit, yeah. Thomas must be an engineer or something. So I don't think we're going to quite leave the atmosphere on this flight, but this is by far the highest we've been in this playthrough. That's it. I'm not too sure what our apoapsis is going to be here. We're going to make it to 36,000 meters, so not quite out of the atmosphere, just a KSP player like me. But you probably have way more hours than me. I've only got 180.
That's why you party? Boy, you really are 17.
Why do you party?
To get riggedy.
Hey, thanks for the sub. Appreciate that. Looks like we're just about at our apoapsis here. So we'll take our goo readings and our temperature readings before we land. We're going to get another 7 science for that. And 9 science for the mystery goo. At this point, we might as well cut our stage loose there. And we'll head to the Science Center and hopefully learn that advanced decoupling so we can have the radial decouplers. That way we can have some solid rocket boosters on the side of the spacecraft and allow the liquid boosters to get us the rest of the way into orbit, or at least out of the atmosphere. Oh, we're coming back down. We got our chutes deployed. I'm going to advance time a little bit here, just so we can move on. Coming through the clouds. There we are under canopy. Hey Psycho, how you doing, bud? It's our star to you. Alright, 100 meters from splashdown. There's the moon, that's where we want to get. There we are in the water. Cover this puppy. $25 science, sweet. So we got survivability. What does that give us? Heat shields, barometric pressure, landing struts, service bays, radial chutes. Or we can have stability with the radial decouplers. We're gonna go with stability for sure. You bet. Thanks for checking in, Psycho. So I kind of like the design of this ship. Now that we've got some better aerodynamics and things like that, we're going to have better control of the spacecraft. So I'm just going to swap that out. And we're going to add... I think what we'll do is add another stage of liquid. We'll have 3 engines with the bigger Reliant booster. That's going to give us 2,500 meters per second. And we're going to add to that a couple of solid rocket boosters on either side of our rocket. Kind of thinking these thumpers are going to be too much. 2 of these thumpers will be way too much. But I guess you don't know if you don't try. That's 3,567 meters per second of total delta. That should... That should get us into orbit. Should, being the operative here. And we got these controllable fins. That should also help us. Now, I'm not too sure how this is going to work with these 2 huge boosters. But we'll try it. We're going to have to adjust the thrust on these guys for sure. They are going to burn for a long time. Adjust the thrust. That's at 100. So it looks like, yeah, we're gonna have to add another liquid or a fuel tank or 2 to that, because we're gonna burn out on that middle engine before we burn out on the solid engines. And we don't want that. Try one more first. Still gonna have way too much thrust. I guess we can dial the thrust back on this engine significantly. Let's try that. We're going to throw our fins back on this. A little bit crooked. That's better. We're going to keep this ship called Bog 3 just because does not support a vessel heavier than 18 tons. So let's go and upgrade our launch pad to one that will support more than 18 metric tons. Depending on how much it costs, I suppose. 50 grand, we've got 250 grand, we might as well do it. You're going to see now we have an upgraded launch pad. Okay. It's not just a crappy pile of dirt. Ooh, but look at our rocket. It is awfully sketchy. Awfully sketchy. She's wobbling. But I guess you only live once. Let's go for it. Starting to pitch over pretty hard. This is not good. This is not good. That's a failed launch for sure. We'll revert that back to vehicle assembly, and yeah, you only live once. And I think what we'll do is we'll swap out these heavy guns for some smaller guns. We'll go with the hammer. Move these guys down. I'll put these guys on. One coupler on here now. Move those down a little bit more. We still got 3,300 delta V, or velocity change. Hey Dalton, welcome to the stream, buddy. Appreciate having you here. Thrust on these guys. Page a little more line. There we go. So these solid rocket boosters are going to run out of fuel before the liquid. And that's what we want to see. That's a good sign. We're going to adjust that one down a little bit too, so we're down into that 1.3 range as well. So, and it looks like our third stage needs a bit of an adjustment as well. 1.3 there as well. Okay, so we should have some better control of the ship. We'll see how high that gets us. See if we're super wobbly still. Oh, that's a bit better. That's a bit better. Alright, let's launch this sucker. Again, the ship is listing to the side. I don't know why it's doing that. Something is not right. So I canned that launch because I already knew it was going to be a failure, but I think it probably has more to do with our staging. And it could have a lot to do with the height of the rocket as well, too. I'm not too sure. Thanks, Dalton. We'll try it out. There we go. It seems a little more stable with that middle rocket burning. Got some serious speed going though. And very little control of the ship right now. In fact, none. I'd ideally like to be arching the ship over, but it's looking like a straight shot up. Start arching the ship down, hopefully having gravity assist us a little bit. Our trajectory is pretty good. A fairly decent gravity turn. There we go, guys. We left the atmosphere, 72,000 meters. We did it. We can look at our apoapsis here. We're not going to make it into orbit, but we did leave the atmosphere. That's a good start. How many Kerbals? There's only one, Trick. Only one. We're going to push our apoapsis as far out as we can. But again, we don't have enough velocity change to put ourselves into an actual orbit. We might be able to burn at our apoapsis and try to circularize it a little bit. Pardon me, I'm just going to sit up here. And see how circular we can get it, but here we are, guys. We are officially in outer space. Might as well do our experiments here. Log the temperature. That's worth 8 science now. That's pretty huge. And we'll observe some mystery goo. 10 science for that. Hell yeah. Go on EVA? I can do that. I don't think I can take a crew report yet. I don't know. I need to upgrade my astronaut complex, Dalton. So when we get back down, I'll upgrade that, and then we can go on EVA. However, I can take a crew report from up here. We'll do that. It seems we are very much in space right now. The sky seems mostly below us. So I can show you guys, we can, how we change. Doorbell camera, chase, locked, auto. I don't know what I was trying to do. Are you seeing the Northern Lights there tonight, Johnny? Alright, looks like we're at our apoapsis. We can burn a little bit here. Let's see if we can't circularize this a little bit. See how we're pushing the ring out further? That's all the fuel we got. We're on our way back down now. Cut that sucker loose. And we'll speed up time right away here. Get back down. Okay, we're back in Kerbal's atmosphere. Turbine. Got some heat. Big time heat. We may lose our experiments here. I hope not. Don't have any heat shields on the sucker yet. Yeah, there they go. Shit. Coming through the cloud layer. Got the sun setting. For anyone that's joining us now, thanks for checking in. Appreciate seeing you on here. My name is rstar26 with Bitter Old Goons Gaming. And as I'm sure you're all aware, we're playing Kerbal Space Program. Here's our chute. Here's a lovely dusk setting. We're 800 meters from splashdown. There we are in our fancy bog logo on our ship. I love that. I love that you can do that. It's awesome. Yeah, that was badass, but I blew up my thermometer, so we're not going to get any of the temperature readings we got. Gonna warp time here so we can get down. Too much heat. I didn't have a heat shield. I needed a heat shield. Alright, looks like we're 50 meters. I'll slow that down. We are in the water. What mods? I use Eve. You know what? I'm just gonna... It's gonna be easier for me to just minimize the game here. Let's just get the vehicle back in the Space Center, and I'll minimize it, and I'll show you what mods I'm using. I think I've got my directory open to ASP directory right now anyways, so... let's have a look at what mods we use. Plugins? No. Okay, so we have got better burn time, distant objects, Eve, Jewel Rings, Engineer, Copernicus. So as far as just the visuals, it's Distant Object, Eve, Copernicus, Planet Shine, Scatterer, Stock Visual Enhancements, SVE Copernicus, and the Texture Replacer. So they all kind of work together. I'm also running version 1.22. I haven't upgraded to 1.25 because I found it was kind of janky and there was not a lot of mod support. That was a couple months ago. Likely there is way better mod support now. So I could probably upgrade, but this version works pretty good for me, so I'm happy using it. So on that note, we're back at Kerbal Space Center. We completed one mission, so we can grab a new one. Test a heat shield. We want between 44,000 and 54,000 meters. Yeah, let's grab it in flight. Go to the Science Center and see what we can pick up. We need 45 to grab this one. We can unlock heat shields here for 15, so we'll do that. We'll see what we need. All these ones here I think are 45, so we're going to need a bit more science. But we've got heat shields, so perfect. So we'll have a look at this vessel. We're going to make some changes to it. This vessel's fairly decent so far, so we're not going to do too much, but we're going to definitely add a heat shield to this sucker. We'll separate it there. We're going to add the big heat shield. And I think we're going to need a little bit more delta if we want to put the ship into orbit. So we're going to add a couple more engines to the ship. So we're going to pull this guy off here, and we're going to try 4 solid boosters. There we go, we got 4 solid rocket boosters. We're gonna adjust the thrust on these guys way down because they're way too high. And they're gonna burn for a really long time. Like 2 minutes. I don't know what that's gonna do to the control that we have on our spacecraft, but we've got a new science experiment we can add as well. We'll throw that sucker on here. It's the barometric pressure tester. And we're going to also add our flight computer. Don't want to cover that fancy bog logo. Sure there's nothing else here that we can do. We got so it looks like we are go. Got some better readouts coming our way. Save this log 3 ship. And we're gonna have to upgrade our launch pad, I think, again, or our vehicle assembly complex, because we are over the parts limit. We're definitely gonna want to upgrade that. That's 225 grand though. Ooh. I don't know that we want to do that yet. We do want to be able to do EVAs though, so we'll do that. But that means we're going to have to go back here and get rid of something on this spacecraft. We got 9 parts too many. We'll have to get rid of these 2 engines for sure. But I think what we'll do is we'll switch back to a double. And we're going to use the bigger... We'll use the larger solid rocket boosters. Cones on it. Still 3 parts too many. Is that possible? Oh, it's because we got the flight computer. Ditch that. We're 2 parts too many. So I think we'll just ditch the nose cones. She's pretty cheap ship, but let's see what we can do. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't adjust the delta on those 2 solid rocket boosters, so we'll go do that real quick. do is we'll throttle that main engine back a little bit so that it burns a little bit longer than the two solid rocket boosters. We'll maybe burn at half. Our SAS on. Looks like we got the ability to use RCS now, but we don't have any RCS flight controls yet, so. So here we go. So I didn't stage my rocket properly, so the ship was listing. We need to fix that. I gotta remember to do that. Those two, burn that out. Burn those. Okay. We are golden now. Listing a little bit. I'm not too concerned about it yet. Starting to get concerned about it. So we've got enough to put our ship into orbit, and then once we get to our apoapsis, we are going to burn towards the little symbol here. And hopefully we are going to be able to get ourselves into a semicircular orbit. Still got a load of fuel here, so we're going to be watching for this apoapsis here. The only experiment we're going to get here is the pressure. I accidentally toggled that motor. It's not good. There we go. That was failed. Big time, guys. But we should get that experiment back in one piece, so. Big time fail. But we did get some science, and I got a couple more tips and tricks up my sleeve here, so. For us to get some more science. So what I'm going to do really rapidly here is load up our first ship. Now that we have the ability to EVA. We're going to send that sucker out to the launch pad. Oh, I shouldn't have quite done that yet. We're going to add our barometric pressure science kit to the ship. Add our mystery goo temperature. And what we're going to do is take some readings right here on the ground. Hopefully that'll give us enough science to unlock one more level here. Pressure. Goo. Temperature reading. And we're going to EVA our Kerbal because we can do that now. What we can do is come off to the side here. And what we're going to do is we're going to plant a flag here. So we've got the bog flag, and we're going to call this Kerbal Space Center. Then we're going to take an EVA report. Head back to the ship. And we'll recover it. So we've got 42 science. We're just gonna go here and see if we can't do like a science campaign or something like that as well. I don't think we have enough science to buy anything yet. Yeah, we're still 3 short. That's pretty shitty. Cover our spacecraft. And we'll go open our Bog 3 spacecraft. See if we can't figure out why we were not able to get into orbit. I'm thinking that maybe we've got one too many engine or one too many fuel tank on this sucker. We've got no attitude control with this Reliant engine, so we're going to swap this engine out for the swivel as well. The burn time is a long time on that. I think we do need that other fuel tank. Didn't want to, but I think we're going to need it for sure. What are we at for parts here? 30. Can't have any more parts, but I do want to swap out this little guy for a bigger one. See what kind of delta that gives us. 3,700. We should be able to get into orbit with this thing, in theory. I should have a look at my staging here too to make sure that we're staged properly. I think we're go. Get our SAS on. We've got our science experiments. Don't have enough thrust. We're going to revert that again here and fix our thrust. Adjust the thrust on this guy up to maybe 50. See if it can compensate. See where we're at there. Our staging was all janky again. One thing is you definitely got to pay attention to what you're doing in this game. Okay. Should have more than enough to go now. Not even sure we're gonna reach orbit. Hey, we're out of the atmosphere anyways. I guess as a reference, guys, you can see the system that we're in. We can go to these planets, Minmus and Moon. can keep going out, and we can leave the Kerbal, and we can go visit any of these planets if we so desire. But we're not even close to that point yet. Gonna wait until we approach our apoapsis here, and then I'm gonna burn prograde here roughly at 45 degrees and see if we can't circularize this. I don't think we'll have enough fuel, but we'll get it close. We've got a pretty good orbit here. Not quite. Close though, look at that. That's a nice suborbital flight for sure. We're gonna put our ship into, we're gonna wait till we get to our apoapsis, and we're gonna take readings again, because that's a fairly high orbit. And then I think I'm gonna land and shut her down. It's been 2 hours here, and didn't quite get to orbit like I wanted to, an actual orbit. We're gonna have to do a little bit of design and stuff like that, so. Hey, have fun with PUBG there, Trick. If you want to stream it, I'll be done in about 10 minutes here. Here we are on the dark side. We got the sun shining on us. Stars in the sky. I'm going to speed up time a little bit here until we get closer to the apoapsis. That's a pretty good altitude. Take our readings here. And we're going to do a quick EVA. We'll do a crew report here. It's not worth anything. But we'll EVA our guy here. And we're going to do an EVA report. Well, we're going to board the spacecraft again. Cut our engine loose. Kind of into a bit of a spin here. We gotta get back into Kerbin's gravity here. Hope we don't blow anything up. Well, we ended this on a good note anyways. We've got a lot of science from this little jaunt. We're going to be able to unlock a few more parts and things like that for our ship and rebuild it. And I think probably on our next launch, maybe tomorrow or whatever, we should be able to put ourselves into a stable orbit. Here we are on the ground. We'll recover our spacecraft. Yeah, we earned 30 science from that. That's huge. Huge. Go to our research and development and see what we can buy. Got advanced rocketry, which has got the Terrier, Thud, and a bigger fuel tank. General construction, some more couplers, stability, aviation, we're going to skip over that. Flight control is going to give us our mech jeb, which we want, reaction wheels, and winglets. Basic science is going to give us batteries and different things like that. I think we're going to go with flight control. We definitely need control. And then the next time we play, we're going to go for advanced rocketries. That was a good start. Everybody got to see a little bit of what the Kerbal Space Program is all about. More about crashing than it is about flying, but it's a good time. I enjoy building the ships and seeing how they perform. Thanks for tuning in. I'm RStar26 with Bitter Old Goons Gaming, and have a great night. Appreciate you guys watching. Take care.